When you're in love, you know you're in love, no matter what you try to do. You might as well resign yourself to what love made you do. If you're a hard man or if you're a child, it's still my tip to you. Don't kid yourself, you've seen it all before. A million miles, a million mouths have said that too. I don't really know the song, but Love Action, did it feel okay? Oh, the Human League. That song's just come to me there the now because I've got that feeling. I've just got that feeling of. You ever been in love? That's the thing. If you've been in love, you know it because it's no nice in a lot of ways. It's just like, this is it. My life has just totally changed, whether I like it or not. This has to happen, and if it doesn't happen, everything else is just a waste of time. You know that it's pretty serious, and I don't like life being serious, and neither did the pair women that I was fallen in love with. And of course it happened during her finals, her finals, my finals, you know. I mean, of course she's actually doing Scottish literature and stuff at Glasgow University. My finals, it was doing the resits of all my O levels, my O grades, you know, maths, arithmetic, the English, bit of chemistry, physics. Just 5 times I'd tried to resit the lot of them. D's all round. This is me having a 6th go at it, but I made the mistake, and because in that as my flat, I was a mature student. It took me so long to reset all my O levels. I was a bit older. I'd been out working and stuff like that. Hardened to the ways of the world. I thought I was at 27, I think, was the time I actually was sitting my finals. And my sister, she was working down in London at the time. She had a flat down in London. She was still single as well. Pair of ugly bastards, obviously. And I'd planned to go down to visit her straight after my finals. And something happened to me. I think just the stress of the finals themselves, because as usual, I was cramming for them. This was like 1998, so I was 27 turning. I was about to turn 28. But Inter with Ronaldo, fat Ronaldo, and all that. They were playing in the UEFA Cup final against Lazio at the Parc des Princes. The first time the UEFA Cup final had gone down to a single game, and that was 3-0. You know, Zanetti and Ronaldo was absolutely phenomenal. I sat and watched that. I had an exam the next day, and I sat and watched the entire UEFA Cup finals. I was in cramming all night. Basically, I just went straight to the exam. Didn't have any sleep. Just a whole lot of Coca-Cola and coffee and stuff. And I managed to drag my way through all of the exams. And this stuff was going on as well in my emotional life, or whatever you want to call it, love life. That's the wrong connotation. But once the finals were over, and a few other things had happened, and I knew she felt the same and all that. And, but I was going to visit my sister, and she was going back through her mum and dad. So she was down in London. So it was the best thing that could have happened. I read Nick Hornby's High Fidelity. I read that all the way down in the train. And I know one of the characters is named after Charlie Nicholas because his time was at Arsenal. No, Nicola Charlison or whatever her name is, one of the characters. It's on Nick Hornby making references to Arsenal players and all that. But it was a perfect read for that kind of journey. And just before I'd left, the night before in the flat, when I was sober enough, I'd listened to, or somebody had put it was on the radio or something like that. It just come on, Motorcycle Emptiness, the Manics, and I felt myself totally welling up, getting totally overwhelmed. I was in this train. This is that next day and that big long journey. I was looking forward to see my sister. We always had a good laugh and that. You would go for a few drinks and see a few sights in London. And I come off that train, and it was only when I saw her, and I don't think I'd seen my mum and dad since my finals had finished. Because you're thinking, she's just a man of the world and all that. I've done stuff. I'm not like one of these wee Waynes who went straight to uni and straight from school and stuff. And I come off the train. I saw my sister, and I just gave one another a hug, and I couldn't let go. And it was like, I mean, she's tall, but she's not, big enough to be supporting me. And I was basically falling into my wee sister's arms at what is it, St Pancras, King's Cross. It's one of the London stations. And I could feel myself totally greeting. I didn't realise. And she's like, "What's going on with you?" I said, "I fucking don't know." It was obviously the stress of the finals and all that, but it was also knowing that the person I had suddenly discovered I wanted to spend the rest of my life with, and that life would be shit if I didn't, that was probably going to be alright as well. That was probably going to work out, because if it hadn't, that was a sudden extra trauma that had been put on me, and it was just like a time you're expecting to be totally happy, something you've craved, the finals are done, you've probably got away with it, you've probably managed to scrape yourself a certificate, and a general certificate in education, a B for your arithmetic, and you've probably just met the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, and that's absolutely fine. That's good stuff, that's great stuff. And at that point in time, Celtic got stopped us winning. Maybe that was in there as well, because Celtic had just stopped us winning 10 in a row. That went right down to the last game of the season, so that was an added trauma at that time. But Rangers were about to win the treble under Advocaat and all that, and everything was going to be fine. But I just felt like a good greet. Just felt like a right good greet. I don't feel like having a good greet just now, but I must admit, it's having to get up for the past 4 post-match reaction pods, because it's like, here we go again. Rangers have started crap again. It's not working out under McInnes, it's not working out in terms of his opening 4 games. And he's like, I cannot wait for the moment that we win. We win a game under McInnes, or that's why I see Rangers winning. It'll be fantastic. It'll be delightful. I don't have anything to give these folks, and I don't need to give you anything, because you got it as well. You saw Rangers winning 5-1 today, and it was absolutely tremendous. And fuck you, Rangers. No, fuck you, Rangers. Thanks for fucking nothing. I'm driving into the game of the day, usual route, and I knew it wasn't going to be as busy at the game of the day, but also you've got because the game isn't on the season ticket, and everybody that's gone has got the tickets on on their phones, the QR code thing, a bit of hod up at the turnstiles. So I basically left it exactly the same time. And maybe you knew about this. I know I was talking to Andy at half time there. He certainly knew all about it. But there was all sorts of hod ups, and the transport the day, various bridges were shut, the underground was shut. I don't know what's happened, terrorist incident or something. But I went down to Clyde Tunnel, just swung round the corner to head down the Old Crow Road towards the Clyde Tunnel, and I couldn't head down the Old Crow Road. I could barely get out the junction. I'm strapped across the middle of the road, because there's just nowhere to go. This massive queue down to Clyde Tunnel. But you just sit in there, and I sat, and I moved down 2 or 3 cars' lengths in the space of a couple of minutes, and I'm thinking, this is getting quite to the point where I might end up missing kick-off. But I'll just be patient, and I'm looking at my clock, and it was like, that's 3 minutes has passed, and I've only moved in, and I suddenly realised that the reason I'd moved in the length of 4 or 5 cars wasn't because MD was going through the tunnel. It was the folk in front of me who were peeling off, and at the last minute, just before you actually have to go into the tunnel, there's nowhere else to go. Now, if you're approaching the north of the river, there's that last exit to the slip road up to the left, and folk were going up there and just going the long way to Ibrox, and I thought, I'm going to have to do that as well, and I eventually did have to do that. I ran out of time. I thought it was going to be late. I had to go along the Clydeside Expressway, and then you hang the wee right and you get into that. I don't have to waste time. I don't have to waste time today. I don't have to make up stories. But the one thing that was striking me was, I thought we were going in the right direction. I was going in the usual route, a route I'm really comfortable with, and for some reason it just wasn't working out. And I hung on, and I hung on, and I hung on, but no, it just came a point I had to say, it's not working out, we're going to have to go in a different direction. I mean, sometimes they write themselves, the metaphors, they write themselves, and it would have been absolutely perfect if we'd slipped up to St Mirren today, and I had this locked and loaded, ready to go, absolutely perfect, with my true life experience, not even making this stuff up. It would have been absolutely beautiful. Sorry, Derek, we're going to have to go a different way, mate, but no. Not only that, what actually happened, I should have, because I thought, that's me, I'm screwed. You've got your usual route planned. If that doesn't work out, the backup plans are going to take you all over the place. But what happened, because I was having to drive the full length, I basically cross across the front of Ibrox, all the places that are usually totally mobbed, I knew wouldn't get parked, and go back to my usual parking spot via the Squinty Bridge and all that. STV and stuff. I just took the wee slip road up Copeland, just you go across Copeland Road and you go up the back of the house. Anyway, long story short, just found this space on Broomland Road. Space on Broomland Road. So I made it. I was coming up the vomitory just onto the top step at the main stand front as the teams were kicking off, and I was, this is great. I'm getting slagged for turning up late and all that. It's fucking 4 o'clock this Sunday and you still can't get here in time. But it was great. And I was like, I can't believe I've actually made it. So just when you thought things The night was darkest just before the dawn. You thought you were going to be late for a kick-off. It ends up that I'm sorry, I'm just tired. Are you tired as well? I'm just tired of knowing it's going to be all right, but just needing it to prove that it's going. Just gives a wee sign, just gives a wee something. And when we got a sign, it was a lovely big sign, and it's behind it. This is your Fat Eck. Immediate post, Derek McInnes has won his first competitive match as Rangers manager at the 5th attempt. We've seen his team score 5 goals. We've scored more goals in this game today than we've scored in the previous 4 competitive games under Derek McInnes put together. We have put the holders of the League Cup out of the League Cup. We're into the quarter-finals of a major competition. Reaction pod coming to you in association with Gersnet. Check out Gersnet tonight. It's going to be an absolute pleasure. I don't know who's on tonight. Sorry, that's my fault. But they'll be on at 9:30 live on the Gersnet YouTube channel, and they will have a lot of lovely stuff to discuss. No, I mean, plenty of serious stuff as well. Lots of doubts still to be gone over and examined. But there's 5 lovely Rangers goals and a really hilarious penalty miss today to be discussed. So get on that. I'm sponsored by that, and I'm sponsored by, I'm just going to say it, 2012. I've talked about it in the previous pod when we started getting ourselves into a frenzy. A bit, am I going to sack McInnes, sack everybody? Why is it just no happening? And my answer is always 2012. And a lot of Rangers supporters don't want to talk about it because we get Celtic fans in our face all the time going, your club died in 2012, you know, and that patently not true, but it's legally not true. At the time, don't get me wrong, at the time I wasn't exactly just brushing it off as nothing. It was a horrible thing. But it wasn't about the club dying, didn't lose the history. But Rangers fans now telling us, no, it's not a day with 2012. There's no excuses, but it's a massive undertow. It creates this terrible kind of backdraft that's constantly coming back to knock us over just when we think things are going to go absolutely swimmingly, because we constantly compare Rangers' success to what it was pre-2012. You know, but Rangers fans tell me 2012 is not the problem, and I've always... Basically, I couldn't get to sleep last night. I had a wee glass of wine. I put up the preview pod, and I was breaking up. And then folk are getting in touch, so I'm talking to them and all that. You know, you might get, but I've got to let it go. I've got to try and chill out on a Saturday night, you know. And I did that thing where I should either had no booze or had like 4 bottles of wine to myself. But I had like 1 bottle of really weak ass wine. Really, it was 11% or something like that. It wasn't even a proper. I stole it off my wife. Basically, it was a present she got for somebody at her work. 11% or something. So I sat there and I just had that, and it's that way. It just made me kind of wake up. It made me kind of antsy, kind of edgy. It wasn't strong enough. It wasn't enough. And I lay there. And I eventually had to go through the spare room because I was just lying there all night staring at the ceiling. And I went through the spare room, and I was just lying there again staring at the ceiling. I was just thinking, what kind of... And the 2012 thing was coming into my mind, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. So 2012 isn't a problem. For folk, Rangers fans who refuse to accept 2012 as a problem, we've won 3 major trophies since 2012. And that's 14 years ago. Well, the 14 years before 2012, that takes us back to 1998. How many trophies have we won? And just off the top of my head, I mean, straight away, you'd Advocat winning the treble. We didn't win in 97, 98, but Advocat winning the treble in his first season in 99. He won a double the following season. That's 5 major trophies straight away. Then Alec McLeish comes in because it's no working out under Advocat. He wins the cup double his first season, then he wins a treble the following season, Big X. So that's 10 trophies. 10 major trophies straight away. You've got, Walter winning 3 league titles and the trot and winning a league and cup double in the other season that he was there, and he's winning league cups and other associated league cups and Scottish cups. I had it up to 20. There might be more than that, but it's at least 20. There might be a league cup somewhere that I've missed out, but it was at least 20 major trophies we won and reached a European final in the 14 seasons before 2012, and we've won 3 major trophies and reached a European final in the 14 seasons since 2012 is the problem, and this is maybe why we had to go with Derek McInnes, take that sideways step, and today, finally, it seems in a kind of microcosm of what has been happening since 2012. 4 games in the trot, but it didn't work out very well at all. Like our 4th season in the lower leagues, if you want to make it, and then bang, we didn't arrive in the top flight in great style. back in 2016, but it's a kind of bang, suddenly, okay, like Steven Gerrard, a European final, winning the league, winning the Scottish Cup under G, all that kind of stuff. It seems to be, we seem to be right. How you doing, folk? My name is Alec Anderson, and I usually do a wee song, don't I, but I've just done a wee song last night. A DJ saved my life. Last night, a DJ saved my life from a broken heart. That's the best I can come up with, because in fact, I'll incorporate the snag. Look, you deserve a wee pod. I'm going to rush through this. You deserve a small pod, a quick pod. Constantly having to explain, get rid of the Celtic fans and all that, and constantly having to put a brave face on stuff and all that. No need for that today. We'll try and get you a short one. So I'll incorporate the snagging items, because the song I did last night, I meant to explain myself in the preview pod. I did Blue Monday. The New Order, Blue Monday, how does it feel, and all that. And I know I've done that before. You don't like to see me repeating the song a day at the beginning, but I just felt as if it was really appropriate, and I forgot to mention this. I should actually have done, in reaction to us going out the Europa League, I should have done Europe is lost, America lost, London lost, but the hope, the chances of me at my age having the lyrical dexterity of K Tempest to go through one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life, to be able to go through that is not. But that's maybe what I'll do if we tell you what. See if we win the league this season, I'll do all of K Tempest's Europe is Lost, because that'll give me a few months to try and get that memorised. Win the treble. If we win the treble this season, I'll do K Tempest's Europe is Lost, because I would need to know. I need the League Cup to start getting seriously planning ahead for May to get that one. But I should probably have done something like that. But I thought, no, it's more appropriate. It's more appropriate to do Blue Monday, because, of course, it was a lost leader, wasn't it? Famously, every time New Order went on to Top of the Pops, and they were on Top of the Pops and Friday night, Top of the Pops, the repeats today in BBC 4 or BBC 2, whatever it is. They were on the other night, and that's what's reminded me of this. Every time. It was the biggest selling 12-inch single of all time, but every time New Order went on to Top of the Pops and did it live, it was so bad that folks stopped buying it and the sales went down. But even though it was the greatest 12-inch of all time, and the Peter Saville artwork on the sleeve was so expensive that they were losing money every time they sell one. So it's that kind of, everything seems to be, you've got a number one, it's the greatest selling 12-inch single of all time, you're still losing money. We seem to be doing it, and I thought it was so appropriate to Rangers, because everything seems to be in place. It's kind of back to front. We've got the money. We're making the money. You know what I mean? Or we could have sold a guy for £22 million last Saturday night. But we've got the 49ers, they've got the cash in there. We're making all sorts of great bids for players. But a guy for $7 million, we're going to sign him the other day, failed his medical. Now he can go. But we just, why is it no? we keep doing our Top of the Pops live performance when we're on the pitch this season. Anyway, it just hasn't been working at all. My name is Alec Anderson, and I am coming to you from outside Ibrox Stadium. Ibrox Stadium, 150 Edmiston Drive. That's a 1-5. And in fact, the postcode G51, isn't it? G51 2X. Do you know the X stands for Ibrox? But G51, G51, 5-1 to the Teddy Bears today on our Paisley Road at Derby. St Mirren brought the weather with them, it seemed, today. Woke up today, various points this morning, when I eventually did get out my kip, it was peeing down outside. It's good for the cotton, the Paisley weather, but it has brightened up a wee bit. It's symbolism abounds, and by the time I got in, panicking that I wasn't going to get to the game in time, I'm watching that thing where you're actually checking out the starting 11. It's always quite nice, actually, doing it on your phone and all that before you get to the game, because you're too busy shouting and swearing at traffic. And I saw the starting 11. We had brought in James Penrice. James Penrice was playing a good meme. It is a genuinely funny meme. You have to laugh sometimes as Celtic fans every day. And the thing, they put on the picture of Derek McInnes with the brogues on, but they expand the brogues so they're like the size of the floor in the Blue Room at Ibrox. And they're doing the thing with the Jaws meme as well. We're going to need a bigger brogue every time over a setback in McInnes' first 4 games. We're going to need a bigger brogue. Well, we got him. He's called James Penrice. I don't know if you saw his interview on Rangers TV. I watched it on YouTube. Staunch as anything. It's super staunch. Absolutely on it. And you can tell nothing for interviews. But it actually all came true today. And there he was. He was on the park. That was the defence I was predicting. It was Pandora and goals. We stuck with McCann and Fernandez. And we had big dudes going to right back. I'm more comfortable with that, I must admit, than Ross McCrory. Sorry, Ross. Hopefully you'll be able to play into the season. And James Penrice there he was in at left back after us losing Tour Romans on loan from AEK Athens, and he was obviously I don't know if he felt at home or he felt he was getting trolled by St Mirren wearing that kind of pseudo AEK Athens kit. Did the first 11, first 11. Sitting two in midfield, I thought we went with the 4-2-3-1, which I thought we would, but when Raskin gets started, after his injury, the manager realised he's got a bit of an injury problem, and I'm coming off after about an hour on Thursday night. But he starts, and beside him it was Vanja Dragojević, the big Serbian midfielder, wearing the number 22, which would prove quite symbolic. In front of them, it was the lesser spotted. He's been spotted. It's not him that's lesser spotted. It's Ross McCausland that's lesser spotted. You get your part mixed up, mate. It's been so. Now that we've won, I don't care. Chukwani was back in the kind of number 10 position, and Andy saw him at half time. Andy Hillis, legend of this pod. More of him later. Hopefully you've seen some of them already if my planned thumbnail works out. But Andy it was him that was saying to me at half time, of course, Asgard suspended me because he got sent off the last time we played in the League Cup. It seems like an eon ago, doesn't it? It seems like an eon ago that big Asgard was putting the studs into Tony Ralston's thigh and getting sent off against Martin O'Neill's Celtic at Hampden. Then, of course, Martin O'Neill got replaced by the Wilfred Nancy, and Wilfred Nancy's Celtic lost the final to St Mirren in the League Cup. But Asgard's not playing today, so maybe that was a bit of information that I said I'm going to steal that off you, Andy, and make out that I knew about it myself. I had no idea. So thanks to Andy. That's maybe a clue, helps you as to why Chukwani was playing, but he brings that physicality. And on the left-hand side, we stuck with GASSAMA. On the right-hand side, we stuck with Yokota, as I thought we should. And it was big NADERI. I thought it was going to be Lauren Shanklin, but big Ryan NADERI was playing up front, a guy who's coming in for a bit of criticism from Rangers podders, prats like myself. But no, there he was, and he was fantastic. And the lot of them are fantastic. They get right in about it. St Mirren were good as well, though. St Mirren were very good. They were very up for it. St Mirren enjoying. Dermot McInnes said this thing about when he first came here and he was doing a few pressers. He said, I want to stop teams enjoying themselves. I want it to be a horrible experience for visiting teams at Ibrox. And it hasn't been so far. It really hasn't been so far. But I'd say St Mirren are arguably the two teams who have played at Ibrox so far, Dragalonia and Hibs. St Mirren are the one that seem to enjoy themselves more than those two, and they've taken a leathering, so that's quite good. If you're going to come at us, if you're going to enjoy yourself, we're going to tank you. That's quite a nice wee statement to make. But you've got to remember, folks, I'm a wee bit flustered because I've been late getting in. I've just got in time, and my concentration wasn't what it was. And who cares? I'm going to spend the rest of this week, the next 2 or 3 days before I do the preview pod for the Jablon Edge game. I'm going to bask in the glory of rewatching this game. I recorded it on Premier Sports when I get home, and I can give you a full tactical analysis, i.e. 5 minutes of me going, he was quite good, I thought he was good, referee was shite. I'll do that on Wednesday or whatever, but today it was just go, and we won. The big news is we won 5-1. It's a post-match reaction. St Mirren looked dangerous. Anytime they come forward, the defence didn't look particularly solid, but I think they're playing through it. They're playing through the anxiety, the defence. But within, there was a few incidents, there was a few near misses, and forgive me for no remembering what they were, but we went close at some points before we actually scored, but it was only like 9 minutes into the game where we did score, and JD GASSAMA looking sharp. And that was my whole the point I was trying to make last night. I know a lot of you Blue Noses out there as well been feeling the same way. Just pick a team, pick a kind of solid spine of a team. We need to start laying down some sort of shape to build on, because it's been this homogeneous blob, really. It's been completely interchanging players and positions the whole time, and we can't get any we can't even begin to learn what Dermot McInnes wants to do, because this squad is, everybody is much of a muchness. Nobody's bad enough, nobody's good enough, and absolutely nobody is consistent enough. Consistency is the last thing we're getting at this start to the season. So just go with guys the other night, even though it was a terrible result against Dragalonia. That first half, where everybody thinks we played a lot better than football, winning at half time in Thursday night, go with as much of that team as you can again. So Yokota was absolutely exhausted on Thursday night by the second half, but he was our best player. He's been our best player in the last 2 games, so he gets a start today. And JD GASSAMA did okay when he came on as a sub against Hibs, and he's done okay the other night against Jagiellonia, or not the worst, is about the best we could say of any player the other night against Jagiellonia. So he gets his start again. And that physicality, we've got, you get Alex Gogic and all that. It's in defence. I know Craig McLeish is changing things for them this season, a different style to what he had under Stephen Robinson, but of course they've still got that physicality. Killian Phillips kind of in the middle and in midfield, he puts himself about, he's a big unit as well, likes to get ripped in, so we're matching that straight away with Chuck Wani in there. And of course you get Raskin in it. Maybe that's why he didn't bother playing Cammy Devlin. I was advocating for Cammy Devlin in this one, but maybe he's suspended as well for the League Cup, I don't know. But aye, JD GASSAMA's doing really well, and then he goes away, kind of an angled run, takes the ball through and goes. So you'll know better than me, because if you've seen it on the telly. I've not seen it on the telly yet. And he just goes through and go. You think, there'll be a chance here he can get this, slide this under the keeper, but the keeper makes a bit of a save. I think it's from that the ball just kind of spins up. The keeper doesn't get to hold the ball, and it spins up past him, and it's heading towards the goal. I looked away, and that kind of, that was a chance, we've just lost it. And then just as I looked back, Ryan NADERI seemed to be using his arm to put the ball in the back of the net, as far as I was concerned. But it couldn't have been, because the VAR would definitely have picked that up. But in the ball goes into the back of the net. I mean, Ryan NADERI could have turned and volleyed it into the top corner for all I know. I wasn't very sure on what the finish was, but in it goes, and we're 1-0 up, and that's fantastic. And I'm trying to bite down the temptation to turn to my neighbours and say, we scored first in the last 2 games, and that hasn't worked out well, has it? So, the 2 games against Jagiellonia. Sorry, pal, I'll get you away. That's the sweepy guy. I don't even care the day. I'm getting in his way the day. It's Rangers are back in business, and I'm getting all cocky. He's having to reverse to get past this fat mass that's in front of him. That was it. It was 1-0. You think we go. St Mirren had another chance at that point. They were into our box. They had a shot. Somebody managed to get a shot away past the post. Big Fernandes in particular, I think, was getting a hard time for the crowd. He's become a target for the doubters. He's become somebody that's easy to target. I think he got the ball knocked through his legs at one point as well. In this kind of opening half-hour period, where there was a goal every 10 minutes on average in the game, the third one being for St Mirren, but it could have been more of them for St Mirren. There was a couple of corners and what have you. We managed to just get it clear. It wasn't very convincing. They were getting through us, and there was one particular point where I think it might have been Fernandes again was getting the blame over towards the Govan side of the Copeland Road box, and the boys in the front of the Copeland were really giving them dogs abuse. And you saw big dude John Sterling just walking towards him. He's going off the park, I think, to get the ball. He's on the track, and he's just looking at him like, fucking calm down, and I'll go in there and sort these out. But wasn't required, so we cleared the ball apart, and I don't really know. Yakota's in there involved somehow. I think he maybe pulls it back from the edge of the St Mirren, or to the edge of the St Mirren box, and in goes big Uncle Vanya Dragojević. Right, I've said this before, this is the last time I'll say it, promise. Uncle Vanya, Chekhov play, Chekhov's gun, Chekhov's rifle. You know that if it's in the play, it's going to get used, it's going to go off, there's going to be a fatal shot. And that's the seagull. But he gets pulled back to the edge of the box, and big Dragojević goes in there, and a beautiful shot, an absolutely fantastic shot off the edge of the box, right into the corner. That is it. It's 2-0 to Rangers, and he's wearing number 22, and it's the first time Rangers have scored 2 goals in a game under Derek McInnes. They've scored precisely 1 goal in each of Derek McInnes' previous 4 competitive games in charge, and that was it. We've got to get to 2. Could we just get a second goal? We opened the scoring in both legs against Jagiellonia. Didn't do us any good. We've opened the scoring early again today, but then we've built on it. We've done that thing of building on scoring. Fantastic. The next thing is to get a clean. Fuck's it, I'll pull one back. We'll deal with the cleans. We've only lost, we've not lost that many goals in the games that we've played under Derek McInnes, but we've yet to keep a clean sheet under him. And today, St Mirren on one of their wee forays forward, I think it was Nico Raskin, mate, I missed it in midfield. Again, there was so many people to blame, so many people getting the blame, I couldn't really keep up. But neither could Rangers, and it comes to St Mirren player, edge of the box. What a goal, an absolute a belter from them as well. I think just before that we'd had the moment where GASSAMA had gone through and fired an absolute cracker. I've got the sweepy man behind me, and there's folk in front of me getting a group photograph taken. They don't want me in their photograph. It's becoming difficult to negotiate this. Thank God we won. the things I do for you guys. But it was a fantastic shot for GASSAMA, which hit the top. It was 1966, Jeff Hurst and all that. But it was Ryan NADERI doing the follow-up that Roger Hunt didn't bother doing because he was quite convinced it was over the line. And at that point, I think the boys in front of me were telling us that they thought he'd been pushed. NADERI had been pushed on his way towards the goal, but it looked to me like the St Mirren goalkeeper had wiped him out as well. So I don't know if he's been pushed into the St Mirren goalkeeper. I'm looking at two different incidents. Should have been a pen as far as I was concerned from the cobbled together evidence that I was getting. You know, it was suiting my agenda. So I don't know what's happened there, guys. You know better than me. But it looked like we could have gone 3-0 up just before St Mirren pulled it back to 2-1. So it was all very different. But 2-1 to Rangers at half time. Mild applause. That's a bit stingy, but it was mild applause as he went off at the break. Came out in the second half. A substitution straight away. Finlay Curtis. No, I'm going to tell you what happened. What happened at half time was I was accosted by a very violent man, Andy Hillis. An absolute legend in this podcast. He's been there from the very beginning, Andy, and always really supportive of the pod and the comments. It's like I've met him before. He's been on one of the pods before a few seasons back. Again, when we needed the support as well, we're on needing to cry on each other's shoulders. But Andy discovered today that despite the fact I'm super young and attractive and sleek, and I just look like I'm doing these videos as part of my portfolio, my reel to send round all the various agents in Hollywood. I'm actually just a fat old bloke who doesn't. I mean, it was the main stand. He's waking up folk in the main stand. Folk try to sleep there, Andy. You know, and he had a gift for me. And I have seen some desecrations of the Union flag. I've been used to hunt, poor asylum seekers out of their houses. It's been, burnt by other kinds of nasty nationalists in different places as well. But probably the biggest desecration of the UK, the Union flag, the Union Jack, has been perpetrated by Mr. Andy Hillis. Absolutely, you'll see it on the thumbnail of this podcast. Absolutely hilarious. So it was great to meet Andy again, and it was really lovely. What he's done is really, and I really appreciate all his kind words about the podcast. And that was good. So that was a nice wee boost, and also he gave me the info. He reminded me, of course, why Asgard wasn't playing as well, which I would use that to look a bit cleverer. But it was great to meet Andy. So I was a wee high anyway, and then I comes out and back into my seat, and I saw Curtis had come on for Yokota, which makes sense because Yokota was exhausted on Thursday. He's got an assist today. He's done the job, and it just worked a treat. Within 5 minutes, we were 4-1 up. We'd scored 2 goals. What was the first goal? It was Penrice getting an assist across to GASSAMA. Lovely break down the park. On the left-hand side goes James Penrice, a situation we've seen so often for Rangers in recent seasons, and this season already. What do you think? A normal team would put this away, but you'd no faith really that we were going to do it. He just, the left-back is kind of overlapping, and he's got plenty of space, so he pulls the ball across the front of the box onto our oncoming forward on the other wing. JD GASSAMA, and he puts it away, and it's like they split the run, just did normal stuff, and it goes into the net, and you're like, that's a really simple goal, really well executed. It's lovely moment for James Penrice to get an assist. This is great, but it go even better 2 minutes later when Penrice ends up. I have no idea what happened. Don't ask me anything about the build up to this one. It's gone all over the place, and Penrice is there to put the ball in the back of the net, and he's up to the Copeland. We're all going mental, and I'm saying he was staunch. He is staunch. He's totally staunch. We've got a bigger brogue, and it's working. 4-1, this is fantastic. I can't believe this. And I'm thinking, I said it would be 3-0, maybe on penalties, but I said it would be 3-0 to Rangers. So that'll do me, that's 3, but no, they have to fucking annoy me, don't they? St Mirren go up the park and they get a penalty almost instantly. And it was a bit, we'd just brought on, I think we had just brought on Dan Neil, Lawrence Shankland, and the lesser spotted Ross McCausland. Lesser spotted Ross McCausland. I wasn't sure if he was actually back or not, Ross McCausland. I saw him on the substitutes. The list of substitutes, when I saw somebody, but it looked so suntanned warming up in front of us. I thought, that's no Ross McCausland. I know he's been in Cyprus for a year, but that can't be Ross McCausland. It looks seriously different. But I'm saying to the folk next to me, remember when McCausland come on for that guy that's playing for Blackburn in the Championship? Todd Thingmate and Todd Cantwell, and the whole place was going absolutely mental in that game against Aris Limassol, and he scored. The first thing he did was he went and he scored. he did it again today. And I remember him scoring, I'm sure it was against Ross County at a Saturday evening kick-off. Was it Ross County or St Johnstone? Maybe St Johnstone in the League Cup at Hampden. I think it was St Johnstone League Cup at Hampden. Did Ross McCausland score in that game as well? But anyway, today, that's St Mirren are in the process of winning a penalty as we're making this triple substitution. Lawrence Shankland, I don't know exactly when, but he had a complete fresh air shot. I think this was after we'd scored again, but just before that, St Mirren won a penalty. I can't actually remember what happened. Was it a handball? No, I think somebody got pulled down in the box. And it's Mr. Number 88, Killian Phillips, steps up and he puts it away. And I'm thinking, well, that's only reducing it to 4-2, but I've seen games finishing 4-each before at Ibrox. That's only reducing it to 4-2, but there's a long time to go, and I was just getting settled there. I hope we're going to have a properly decisive victory. He just does the one-step thing. He did the same last week against St Johnstone in the league. And remember, St Mirren are the joint top of the league, so this is what a message put out by Derek McInnes today. But he steps the one step and he puts it away to the right, the bottom right as we're looking at it. Pandur goes the wrong way. But I don't know what it was. I don't know what the infringement was. You know, obviously Masonic conspiracy, but it's got to be retaken. So that was hilarious in itself. And then he tries to go the other way with the retake, and Pander saves that, and that's just perfect. He did that thing where he just got a hand to it without actually catching it at first. Just let the ball kind of sit there for a second. No, I've got that. See that ball? I've actually got that. So that was, you know, the guy's been number 88 in his jersey and all that when he's playing for St Mirren. St Mirren did play in the Cup Winners' Cup in 87-88, but I don't think of any other reason to be wearing that number. The Republic of Ireland underage international, and he's supposed to be going, he's supposed to be leaving soon. Phillips, he's a lot of interest in him, so maybe that's his last memory of Scottish football. That's just bitterness. There's no need for that. There is no need for that, but he's not very nice to us. So that was lovely, and then we go up the park, and I don't know what side it was, 70 odd minutes or something like that. Lawrence Shankland has a wee kind of back flick at the ball in a busy box. It comes off the post and it goes along the front of the goal, and there's Ross McCausland at the back post. They slam it into the pokey. There's about the 15th VAR check that at that point in time, and I thought I'm going to make the joke to my poor neighbours, these folk. I just thank God they're all deaf. I was going to make this joke to the folks sitting next to me, and I was worried. It's a Sunday night, you know. I mean, you want to go up the road, a 4 o'clock kick-off on a Sunday. The last thing you want is extra time, but there's going to be that. There's that many VAR checks that the injury time's probably going to be 30 minutes plus penalties worth of time. The referee blew after 3 seconds, and it's a cup game. I know, but I find that quite weird. It's a cup game, so they're out. That's the game. So it's 5-1 to Rangers, but. It's a bit strange that he blew after 3 seconds, but I see Shankland a total fresh air miss at some point as well, which was getting a bit of abuse, not mild abuse from the supporters. Who are putting that? These guys settling in. It's been traumatic. It's been traumatic for everybody. It's a massive move from him. He's been at the World Cup with Scotland. Nobody's done that for practically 3 decades. So it's been the most awful finish to a league season for any club, really. Most heartbreakingly traumatic, infuriating, sickening finishing to a league season when he is Hearts captain last season. So it's that shit like that takes a wee while to get over, just settling into his new environment. But finally today, Rangers look like they are settling into their new environment. And I think this bit here is just, I've had to fight hard for this patch, you know. Change my pitch up, I'm not going to don't do sexism, but it's not actually a sexist lyric, because it's just a phrase the Prodigy are using there for. But I changed my pitch up there. You know, it's just along here. You know, I know I'm not looking at your punters, hen. It's all right. You know, this is Ibrox. It's all podcasters. It's all you can't get move at Ibrox these days for podcasters, for post-match reactionists. And you get this is Ibrox. It's just here, just another Rangers podcast update. Follow at Heart and Hands. Gersnet, well, it used to be I used to do Gersnet once. I'm not going to infringe on the Gersnet patch. That's what that used to be. Me and Colin used to do that outside, mostly to the side of the Copeland, just kind of Mafficking Street, really. It's kind of side of the Govan, side of the Copeland, the old Rangers shop, the old Rangers superstore, around about that kind of area we would do it. So I'm not going to infringe on that. Gersnet can do it, even though I'm still part-time involved with Gersnet. Whoever's doing the post-match reactions can do that there. But it's hard. It's a hard life on the back of the Broomland here with all the various. This is the Rangers Rabo and all that. I'll try to muscle for territory. I'll try to make a living, you know. I am doing well. I'm fat. I'm fat because I'm making a lot of money for punters, and it's like it's a bit tense at times. Just move your handbag out. Get your handbag out there. This is my punters here then. Aye, fucking this is Ibrox, absolute nightmare. But I charge good rates. It's £20 for a post-match reaction pods, £30 for a Zoom call. Get me on your actual podcast with a few other punters, and £40 for a straight blog post. I don't do kinky stuff. I know I am not on TikTok. I'm not going on Twitter live pods on Twitter either. You just don't know who's involved. I will do stag do's, but one at a time. I'm not going to on the orgies at the once, but. Aye, it's quite a hard life here doing the hard podcasting, and that's why Danny Rule is obviously kind of taken aback by it. Danny Rule talking to the BBC last week saying there's so many. The thing with the Rangers job is there's so many podcasters, but here I am in Schmaltzburg now, and people don't even talk to you in the street and shake your hand. This whole shaking you by the hand thing when they meet you in the street at Glasgow, it's like all they've got is football. I detected. Subtextually between the lines, I was detecting a bit of almost a bit of snobbery, a bit of snoofishness there. Like we take the football too seriously. Are you kidding me on? Because Salzburg, unlike Salzburg, Herr Rule. I mean, they've got that fella. Mozart is probably the best musician at that point in time with a hard of hearing. But we've got Evelyn Glennie. We get Evelyn Glennie, she plays here all the time, and the Super Cup, the Super Cup in Salzburg. Super Cup here. We the first Super Cup here. We invented the Super Cup at Ibrox in Glasgow, and it's the first European final, says Emma. Sorry, I love Emma Dodds, but it's not a final. It's not a final, it's a ceremonial. You know what I mean? It's like that's pandering to Aberdeen fans with their wee second star in their kit. I mean, you kidding me on? It's not. It's the Charity Shield. Are Arsenal going to get an extra star in their kit today because they pumped Man City in the Charity Shield final? And in Cardiff, Cardiff City won the FA Cup in 1927. They got the big rivalry with Swansea. They play in the English system. It was a big four, wasn't it? Because you had Wrexham. They're now in the up again, obviously. But also Newport County. That's who it is. It's Newport County that I think St Mirren. I thought they were taking their eyes out of James Penrice by wearing a kind of AEK Athens centenary style kit. I was trying. What is that kit, St Mirren? Why are we wearing the black and white stripes? I'm coming to see the holders of the League Cup. I am coming to see the team that's won the League Cup more often than we have in the last 13 years. I want to see the full kit, the classic black and white stripes, the black shorts and the whites. But no, they're wearing this black and gold thing. I spent the whole game thinking, what is that? It reminded me of. It's too light to be Wolves, but I think it's actually maybe that kind of Burton Albion third kit or something like that. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I think it might be Newport County. It was a strip that they were wearing. Newport County, of course, one of the teams that plays in England. Sister, I don't know what I'm talking. I've lost it completely because Rangers have won 5-1 and completely distracted. That was a Salzburg thing. No, it's a Super Cup here. It's the first European final in Salzburg. No, why that is? Because Casino Austria Salzburg, we keep our name. We keep our name as a football club. We're no bowing. We've had all sorts of involvement with Red Bull. You see what Leeds United are doing? They're practically getting taken over. It's just pretty soon it's going to be Red Bull Ellen Road. We've got their chairman is our assistant under chairman. He doesn't even get the full. He's the vice chairman. He doesn't even get the full job here. There is no way Red Bull will be getting naming rights on Rangers. And the first, it's Casino Austria Salzburg they were. When I know that they've bought the rights to them and it's a different club, but whatever. It's a whole Wimbledon situation going on there, which in itself just proves how weak-ass Salzburg is. But they had they played a two-legged European final in 1994 against Inter, against a Serie A giant, and they played the home leg at the Prater, the Ernst Happel in Vienna, in a different town, a different city altogether. That's why the Super Cup was the first. I mean, Emma Dodds called it a final, but it's not a final in Salzburg. Whereas when we were in a two-leg European final, we had the first leg here, the first ever Cup Winners' Cup final. It was played over two legs, and we had our leg here at this stadium, in our own city, our own stadium. So you can shove your Salzburg and you can shove the fact there's no podcasters. We've got podcasters coming out of our arse here at Ibrox because we've got so many folk who care, Danny Rule. And you found that we cared just a bit too much. But we've got a guy in the job just now who just doesn't even think of it as caring. It's just like breathing, because he's Derek McInnes and he's got the brogues and he's uber-staunch.